Bobby Torres of Frightbox recording here to show you how you can edit your way to a better guitar tone. So without any further ado, I'm gonna play you 2 samples and I want you to pay close attention to the guitar tone. Sample number 1. Sample number 2. Now you tell me which guitar tone sounded better to you. I'm willing to bet you're gonna say the first sample. And it makes sense, the first sample just sounds objectively better. The tone is clearer, it works with the drums and bass, it just sounds nice and cohesive. And here's the thing, both tones are exactly the same. Same amp tone, same EQ, same compression, same everything. The only difference is that one was edited and one was not. Now, many people struggle with guitar tone. It's one of the most common questions that I get. And time again, people will send me their mixes and say that they're struggling with their guitar tone. They're saying it's just not clear, it's not gelling with the rest of the mix. And I'm gonna be honest, most of the time, there's nothing wrong with the tone. There's not even anything really wrong with the mixing of the guitars per se. It's that the guitars are just not edited. Now I know right now the popular thing on the internet is to say that editing is not right and that you're cheating and that back in the day we didn't need editing. And to be honest with you, this doesn't really make sense because they were even editing before computers, with tape machines, with razor blades. They were editing back then, just not as heavily. Now when it comes to editing in the modern day on a DAW, yes, you can edit things to crap. You can edit them to the point where they don't even sound human, and you don't have to do that. There is a spectrum. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can improve your guitar tracks and your perceived guitar tone by making simple adjustments to the timing of your guitars. Very subtle adjustments that add up big time in the big picture of the mix. Okay, so let's quickly listen to that first take once more. The thing that stands out most to me is that it's nice and clear. The palm mute sounds super heavy, full, and not like they're stepping on top of each other's toes. So let's listen to that second sample again. To me, the thing that stands out most is that the guitars are just not locked in with the drums, and they're not even really locked in with each other. If you have guitar tracks that sound like this, you can EQ all day long. You could try out every amp sim under the sun. You could try out every single mic placement technique under the sun. You could sit there and mix until you're 1,000 years old and your mix is not gonna sound right because there's something fundamentally wrong with the performance. Now, there are 2 main culprits that you really have to look out for when it comes time to editing your guitars. Common problem number 1, guitars that push the beat, meaning they're playing ahead of the drums. And problem number 2, very simple, guitars that are just not in sync with one another. So with that being said, let's listen to the guitar tracks that needed some help in solo and see what we have to work with. Let's check it out. So there you go, you can tell right away they are not in sync and they need some tightening up. Now I just want to quickly mention this, even though you see 4 guitar tracks, we really just have 1 amp tone on the left, another amp tone on the right, and then a DI track that corresponds with those amp tracks. The DIs are not being used in the mix at all, so we're really only working with 2 performances. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos. This is why it's important to track DIs even if you don't reamp. As you could tell by looking at the DI, you can clearly see all of the transients. It's very difficult to see the transients on guitar tracks without the DIs because as you can tell, the amp tracks are just a blob that's very hard to work with when it comes time to edit. So recording DIs, even if you don't plan on reamping, really helps when it comes time to edit and tighten up your guitar performances. Okay, so here are my kick drums, and you could see right away that the guitar on the right side is definitely pushing the beat. The ones on the left look pretty good. As you can tell, the transients are lining up with the kick drums, but the guitars on the right are not. They are pushing the beat. So we have two problems. Not only are they pushing the beat, but now they're not gonna sync up properly because the one is pushing the beat and the one is pulling the beat, and you're gonna end up with a very messy sound, which gives you the effect that your tone isn't good, but in reality, like I said, it's just that the performances suck. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is nudge the guitar performance that's pushing the beat back to where it should be. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight everything on the right side, and I'm gonna nudge it back to where it is on with the kick drums. And yes, right here, it looks like it's on. So the guy on the right was just way ahead. Oh no, we are ahead here as well. So let's push this back. So let's hear the two together now. Now it's behind on the right side a little, so let's pull it ahead in time. Okay, and we have a lot of problems here with these palm mutes. Okay, so in this section where there's a lot of palm muting happening, I'm gonna play it really quick. The guitars are way off. Now that's really not gonna work into production if you want your production to sound professional. So the first thing I'm gonna do is analyze which guitar is off from the drums. So let's listen with just the right side against the drum track with the left side muted. Okay, so the right side is relatively tight. Let's listen to the left side on its own. The left side is just pushing the beat way too much, so we're gonna slide the left side back in time. Okay, so let's hear the left side now with the drums. Very good. Okay, let's hear them together with the drums. Almost, but if you look here, the tail end of the right side again is pushing the beat. Now, small little discrepancies like this really add up in a production, so you really want to pay close attention to the pocketing of your strings. It's worth it in the long run, trust me. So with that being said, let's nudge back these last few palm mutes a little more, and let's listen to what we have. Much better. Okay, and from the top, okay, so those few tweaks, just nudging the right side back, cleaning up a few little sections, and also paying close attention to those syncopated palm mutes really helped beef up the sound of the guitars. Now the beginning here, that chord, we're missing the downbeat, so I'm gonna grab that E chord from when it repeats. So I'm gonna place this E chord at the beginning. Let's check it out. Okay, now I'm gonna take that whole section, and since the riff repeats, I'm just gonna duplicate it into the second half. Okay, let's make sure that it flew into the second half properly. Sounds good to me, so let's apply all of our fades and consolidate. So let's hear how our guitars stack up in the final product. I don't know about you, but to me that sounds a million times better, and all it took was a little bit of nudging. So keep this in mind. If you're working on tracks that just don't sound right, things just sound messy, pay close attention to how your guitars are sitting against the drums and how they're sitting with each other. And just because you do a little bit of nudging with your tracks doesn't mean you're cheating. Again, this is why I cannot stand when I see on the internet when people are saying that editing is cheating. They don't know what they're talking about. People have been editing in the studio for decades, way before computers, way before Pro Tools. This is because professional producers know you have to do whatever it takes to make your tracks sound awesome. And as you can tell, my guitar tracks still sound natural because the integrity of the performance remains intact. I didn't go in there and really splice it up too much. Just a little bit of nudging goes a long way. If you found this video helpful, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to click the little bell icon in order to be notified every time I upload one of my weekly videos on all things metal and rock production. You can both like and follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Links are in the description below. And don't forget to download my free quick EQ guide that contains all my EQ settings that I always return to when I start a mix. There's a link below, right within this video's description. Till next time, happy mixing and editing.